Well, good morning and welcome to lockdown vlog number 37. And the reason I say good morning is because I'm filming this at a very early hour, because at 9 o'clock I have a business meeting, and I thought, well, why not do it right away after I woke up? And there's actually one thing I like to talk about, and probably today is going to be a little bit shorter. Let me show you something that you all know by now. This is my preamp. It is from Audiophile, and this is a prototype. For those of you watching for the very first time, the power section for the preamp is here down below, and a cable goes from here all the way to there, and over here the gray cable, that is the cable coming from the box down below. And for today I opened it. Now, I'm not a technical guy, so I can't tell you what you see here. I can show it to you. I know what a tube is, but that is as far as my technical knowledge goes. But let me tell you a little bit about what it is that you are seeing, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit like this. Okay, so this is where you saw the power coming in. All the cables right over there go over here, and then they start feeding the different boards that we have here. And there's three boards. This board is the preamp section. You can buy this amp also as only a preamp, and then the box is also a lot smaller, because this is the whole circuit. And this amp is double mono, so you know there's two volume knobs that are connected. But as you can see, if you split all the boards in two, you see the left and the right channel. You see the same over here and the same symmetrical build up right over here. So this is the preamp section. This is the Phono amp for the cartridges. And over here we have the Phono amp for the MC cartridges. Moving magnet, and moving coil, MC. So those are two different ways that your cartridges is working. Right over here you see all the connections, and you can see that these are hand wired. They go all the way to the side and all the way over here to the selector to choose your inputs. And it only has a few inputs, even though you can see there's space for much more inputs. But this is a prototype, so a lot of the these are not connected. So let me see if I can show you at the back. There's all these RCA connectors that you should plug in a CD or whatever, but in this case you can't, because there's no wiring inside. It has two, let me show you. The cable that you see here, the black cable, is going to the power amps. This is the preamp out. Next to that there is another preamp out, but this is connected to two volume pots, so you can the output, the volume from the from this preamp output, let me find the right words, you can match it with a screwdriver. You can turn it, it's like a volume knob, so you can match the outgoing signal, the voltage, to the power amp that you are connecting it to. I hope this makes sense. Let me just, I'm trying to find the words. And over here you have the, on this side, the MC connection. Over there at the bottom is the earth connection for the record player. And next to that, these two, those are for the MM section. And if we look around again, you have your normal RCAs, and next to that you have a different connection, which is an older connection, which was according to the one who has built this preamp, that is a better connection than the RCA. So he put in both in this prototype, and as you can see, they are just connected. So if you put your signal on one or the other, it all goes out the same way. So what I did buy one of these boxes, which is RCA to BNC, or the other way around, BNC to RCA. And let me pick it up. So what you have there is, yes, one like this on one side, RCA on the other side. And what I can do is I can put this on the BNC at the back of the preamp, and maybe use, I did this with the two MC and MM connectors have this, and also one of the RCA outs, which I use, or RCA ins, which I use for the CD player, also has a BNC connector next to it. And as you can see, those are also connected together. So I sometimes, if I want to have an extra device connected, I can use these two. So I place the BNC to RCA on the BNC connector, and then I have two, if I one input extra, but two inputs on one cable. Okay, are you still with me? The last thing I want to talk about is, as I said, this is mostly, if I divide it over here, there's just a small bit is the preamp, but all the rest of it is for the record player. But why do you need a phono preamp? I mean, if you use a CD player, you can just connect the cable right over here, and it will be going through the preamp directly to your power amp. So why do you need a phono preamp? Well, there is this thing called RIAA equalization, and there's a reason for that. So when they cut a record, they add this equalization, and a phono preamp reverses that equalization. And why would they do that? Why not have a record without equalization? Well, one thing is you can, but it will mean that on a 12-inch record, so the size of a turntable, you could only have 5 minutes of music on there. And the reason for that is because the grooves for a low bass note must be very, very wide, and that is costing a lot of space on a record. So what they do when they cut a record is they lower the bass very much. They also pump up the treble, and that is also for noise reasons. That's too technical for me to understand or to explain to you guys. But this will also help with noise reduction. So if you put a record which has this very low bass because of the RIAA curve, so there's not a lot of bass, there is a lot of treble. So if you put your record player just in a regular RCA input, it will sound very, very tinny and unpleasant. So what a Phono Preamp does is just to correct this curve, this RIAA equalization, so you have normal bass, normal treble, less noise and more music on your record. And that's why you use a Phono Preamp. Okay, I'll keep it here for today. This was an exercise for me to try and explain technical things to you guys. I don't know if I did a good job, but this is what I wanted to do for today. So if we go back over here, two more things that I would like to say. One is if you ask a question in the comment section, YouTube is not always helping me to get a notification that you made a comment. First comment, so when you make a new comment, that is mostly what I do see. But when we start answering the comments and reacting towards each other, sometimes YouTube just, I don't know why. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Probably I'm doing something wrong, but I noticed that I missed some of your questions. So if I'm not answering your question, either ask it again or be patient. Maybe I'll discover it. But if I'm not answering, don't worry. It's not because I don't like you. It's just because if you have such a lot of movies, so many people reacting, it's hard to keep track of, okay, who is answering, who is asking, things like that. Okay. And the last thing was, oh, right. I am running, this is lockdown vlog number 37, and again, I'm running out of ideas. So if you have any questions, any topics that you would like me to discuss, well, you can help me by naming them in the comments below, because, you know, it's getting harder. I said I'm going to finish at a maximum of 50 of these vlogs. Whether the pandemic is finished or not, that's when I'm going to stop. So we're now at 37. So help me get some ideas for the last 13 vlogs. But for today, thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.